Here's how you can use the Foliage tool to quickly paint your static meshes into your environments. Simply swap from Selection Mode to Foliage Mode or press Shift 3. Then open your content drawer, pick a static mesh, and drop it into your Foliage palette. You'll need to save a Foliage asset, so just give it a name and hit Save, and then you can left-click anywhere to begin painting in your scene to add your static meshes. If you hold the Shift key and move around, you can actually remove or delete those static meshes. And then you can also adjust individual settings for each static mesh by selecting it in your palette. And then you can change things like the density, the scale, your Z offset placement, as well as your random rotations, which can be very handy. In this example, let's set our scale from 1 to 3, and let's try painting around. We get a pretty interesting effect. I'm going to undo that for now. Let's look at some of the other tools. If we go into the Flood Fill tool, it'll use your paint settings. So if I right-click anywhere in the scene, you'll notice it'll fill our scene with that static mesh. Now it uses the paint settings, so if I go back to paint and I adjust the paint density to something lower, like 0.1, then I go back to the Fill tool, right-click, you'll notice we don't have as much grass. Let me undo that, switch back to paint, put it to a higher density, then go back to Flood Fill, and then that looks a little bit better. Now we can paint in multiple static meshes at the same time, so as an example, I will select some flowers, I'll add it into my palette, I have to save my foliage assets for each item, and then I'm going to disable the grass, and I'm just going to leave the flowers enabled. Now let's change the density per each flower, so maybe I'll do 10% on that one, with a scale of 1 to 2, and then this one I'll maybe do 20%, scale of 1 to 2, and this one I will do maybe 50%, the scale of 1 to 3. Then if I go to my paint tool, and I can just simply paint around, and then you'll notice we have some interesting flowers that kind of get spawned at different rotations, different scales, and at different density levels, which can be very, very handy. Another tool that's pretty fun is the Reapply tool. If you select that and pick a static mesh, you can make individual adjustments. Like for this one, let's set the scaling to something like a minimum of 5 and a maximum of 10, just so you can see it. And then if I click anywhere in the area that currently has that static mesh, you'll see it'll reapply your new settings, which can be very handy. But yeah, another important call out is in the palette, the number corresponding to the static mesh is how many instances of that static mesh is spawned. And if you basically delete any of those from your palette, it will remove it from your scene. And just like that, you can quickly and easily paint your static meshes into your environments.